When debt creation becomes unsustainable, the bubble bursts. The war may not be an issue to many Americans, but an economic depression will be. Many think the U.S. is immune to any major financial trouble. There is unbound faith in the virtuosity of the Fed to avoid a serious recession. The Greeks had a word for this reckless arrogance, which inevitably leads nations and people to disaster. They called it hubris. It is the kind of supreme arrogance that causes an individual or a nation to boldly defy all the accumulated wisdom of the past, to ignore history, to break all the established rules and imagine themselves masters of fate.
World stock markets plummeted on Monday, the worst drop since the World Trade Center attack in 2001. The global economic meltdown is fueled by worries of a possible worldwide recession, spurred by weaknesses in the U.S. economy. In what some are calling a panic move, the U.S. Federal Reserve slashed interest rates by 3/4 of a point, the largest rate cut since 1982. It may have temporarily stopped the bleeding, but questions still remain about an economy that, as President Bush put it, is facing some challenges.
Underlying the crisis was the housing bubble, and it is clear that several policy decisions shaped the home mortgage market. Excesses in that market eventually led to a significant decline in home prices and a surge of loan defaults, which caused tremendous losses in the financial system, triggered a contraction of credit, and put many Americans, quite literally, out on the street.
In 2009, the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations looked into what caused the financial meltdown of 2008. Their consensus was that high-risk mortgage lending, investment banking abuses, inflated credit ratings, and regulatory failures were main factors in the recession. Overall, extreme leniency in the mortgage lending market, coupled with risky financial decisions made by investment banks and overzealous consumer spending, combined to cause the downturn.
In the 1990s, one of the large policy issues of the time was housing availability. During the Clinton administration, the president ordered that the Department of Housing and Urban Development work with dozens of leaders in government as well as in the housing industry to implement the National Homeownership Strategy. This policy was made to allow more access to housing for the American populace, so each family could follow the American dream of owning a home. Their policies worked to develop low-income housing. However, providing home loans to more people also became a focus, in an effort to allow more people to become homeowners. To meet this goal, requirements for taking out mortgage loans were relaxed. Overall, this gave more people access to loans, especially those considered lower income. This placed more people in the housing market, causing home construction to speed up and housing prices to increase. This created a housing bubble in the American market, in which high demand for homes caused the housing prices to rise artificially. These mortgage loans were often risky in the long term. During the 90s and 2000s, exuberant spending had become the norm, with a 350% increase in credit spending, while only a 188% increase in income. Americans were spending money they didn't have, leaving them open to financial troubles. For the banks, one financial misturn from their homeowners could be disastrous.
With billions of dollars worth of mortgage loans given in America, many investment banks began to buy mortgages from one client and sell them to another for profit. This involved the creation of complex financial tools. Investment banks would bundle the mortgages they bought into CDOs, collateralized debt obligations, and then would sell off these products for hefty returns. In total, investment banks such as Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank made over $1.4 trillion in CDO securities from 2004 to 2008 alone. Here's a brief explanation of CDOs for those of us who don't work at Goldman Sachs.
A family wants a house, so they save for a down payment and contact a mortgage broker. The mortgage broker connects the family to a lender who gives them a mortgage. The broker makes a nice commission. The family buys a house and becomes homeowners. This is great for them because housing prices have been rising practically forever. Everything works out nicely. One day, the lender gets a call from an investment banker who wants to buy the mortgage. The lender sells it to him for a very nice fee. The investment banker then borrows millions of dollars and buys thousands more mortgages and puts them into a nice little box. This means that every month he gets the payments from the homeowners of all the mortgages in the box. Then he sicks his banker wizards on it to work their financial magic, which is basically cutting it into 3 slices: safe, okay, and risky. They pack the slices back up in the box and call it a collateralized debt obligation, or CDO. A CDO works like 3 cascading trays. As money comes in, the top tray fills first, then spills over into the middle, and whatever is left into the bottom. The money comes from homeowners paying off their mortgages. If some owners don't pay and default on their mortgage, less money comes in and the bottom tray may not get filled. This makes the bottom tray riskier and the top tray safer. To compensate for the higher risk, the bottom tray receives a higher rate of return, while the top receives a lower, but still nice return. To make the top even safer, banks will insure it for a small fee called a credit default swap. The banks do all of this work so that credit rating agencies will stamp the top slice as a safe, AAA rated investment, the highest, safest rating there is. The OK slice is BBB, still pretty good, and they don't bother to rate the risky slice. Because of the AAA rating, the investment banker can sell the safe slice to the investors who only want safe investments. He sells the OK slice to other bankers, and the risky slices to hedge funds and other risk takers.
CDOs were often ignored by government regulators and in fact were very hard to regulate due to the confusing nature of the tool itself. CDOs also involved more risk than their credit ratings would indicate, with many Americans buying more than their income would allow, in combination with the poorly regulated subprime loans given to many lower-income people. The banks were a rain shower of loan defaults and home foreclosures away from drowning.
Investment banks use the high concentration of mortgage loans in the American market to create financial tools for profit. One example of one of these tools are CDOs. Before being sold, CDOs were rated to show the buyer if their investment was safe. Overall, the CDOs received great ratings, with the prime portion of the tool receiving AAA ratings.
However, these ratings were misleading. Credit rating agencies were paid to give the investment bank's financial tools or products good ratings. The actual risk of investments such as CDOs was not disclosed. Many people across the world bought CDOs and other mortgage products from these banks. The improper rating given to financial products such as CDOs were a result of the greed of investment banks, and certainly these incorrect ratings helped the banks sell many risky financial products that would cause the Great Recession. The Great Recession was a financial crisis caused by regulatory failures. Deregulation of the mortgage industry placed many subprime loans in the mortgage market and allowed a large number of loans to enter the U.S. economy. These factors created an artificial increase in housing prices, creating a bubble that would pop in the 2008 recession. This extreme saturation of mortgage loans in the market led investment banks, who were filled with greed, to produce supposedly safe financial products for profit. This crisis could have been avoided had more regulation of the mortgage and investment banking industries taken place. However, as a whole, plain old American greed brought the recession to the level of severity in our economy.
I walk alone